Good afternoon, Wildcat families. We are very excited for you to be with us today. My name is Nikki Jenkins, and I have the pleasure of working with the University of Kentucky's Parent and Family Association. The Parent Family Association is here to help families connect to the university. We send our Cat Chat email newsletter 1 to 2 times a month to families. So if you are not receiving a Cat Chat email newsletter and you would like to, let us know. Send us an email to parents@uky.edu so that you can be in the know on what's happening on campus and how you can be best supporting your student as they are working through their academic career here at the University of Kentucky. Today, we have a very special group of guests here to talk about cybersecurity, which I know all parents think about and worry about for their children. And so we're very excited to have this group of professionals here to give you some information. So without further ado, I'm going to hand it over to our amazing cybersecurity team.
Good afternoon. I am Jason Weed, a cybersecurity engineer here in the enterprise. And Jackie.
Sorry, how about that? My name is Jackie Campbell. I work in information technology services, both with Jason and Jen. We're happy to have you here. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. Thanks again for having us. My name is Jen Edwards. I'm the Executive Director of Training and Awareness for Cybersecurity here at UK. Nikki?
Well, we are very excited for all of you to be here. As you're giving your presentation, families, if you have questions for our guests, go ahead and drop those in the comments. And we will be monitoring those and trying to answer those in real time. If we don't get to all of your questions today, we will go ahead and make sure that you get the answers that you are asking and needing. So make sure to drop those in the comments. And without further ado, I'll give it back to y'all.
Okay, and just so you know, Nikki and Nancy will be hitting you up in those comments. We're also giving away some water bottles for your students for those that ask questions. So to start off with, we wanted to talk a little bit about K through 12, those children that you still have at home and are caring for there. We'll get a little bit more in depth about yourself, your family, and your students we have here at UK in a few moments. One of the things that I want to say, and this goes for every piece of advice we might give here today, is we are giving you the best practices, industry standards, what is the most popular technique at the time to address something. But be sure to take that advice, do your own research, set your own boundaries and your own rules for your family that you feel comfortable with. We think that is very important. For children that are 18 and below, one of the easiest things that you can do is go out on YouTube and search digital citizenship, either for kids, children, middle schoolers, high schoolers. There's videos for all different age groups. Watch those videos, take them in, then also watch them with your children. It's more than likely they're getting some digital citizenship education at school that they go to day to day. But it's important to watch that at home, to learn what they're learning and have those follow-up conversations with them. One of the biggest things I'll say, and this kind of goes, we'll hit on this again at the end, but if they see something, to say something, either to a trusted adult or someone that they can report things to. And I'll get into that in just a second. Children 18 and below are dealing with things that probably all of us growing up didn't have to deal with in the online world. There's lots of inappropriate content, things that, at least when I was growing up, you had to have a magazine subscription to, or you had to be 18 or older to get access to. And now it's easily searchable on phones or devices. And so there are lots of parental control apps that you can put on those devices to pick and choose what your children are able to see. And we don't endorse one of those over the other. A quick Google search will pop up like the top 10 parental control apps, and you can explore those to decide which one is best for the boundaries that you set for your family. One of the things that they deal with a lot is oversharing. They love to share what's going on in the moment as it happens. I'm guilty of this too sometimes. I'm out shopping, or I'm watching the latest movie, or I'm at a concert. But try as much as you can to talk with them about, let's share that after. You can still share it, but let's share it after. That folks don't know where we're at. They don't know that we're not home, and the home is available for anybody that wants to come in and maybe take some of your belongings and that type of thing. The last three I really want to hit on there: cyberbullying, sextortion, sexting, ransoming. This is something that our children deal with all too unfortunately. And perhaps they share an inappropriate picture, or they do something goofy that maybe they didn't want to share with everybody, but they just sent it in a chat to somebody that they thought that they were their best friend or they trusted. And now that person's threatening to share it with the world. And that creates an immense amount of pressure for young people. And so that's something to definitely be aware of that could be going on in their lives. One of the things I'll point out to you there on the side is you can go to this Stop Bullying website. It has a special section on cyberbullying that gets into ransoming, sexting, sextortion, those types of things. But it also has a link on there at the top to get help now. And so if your children's encountering any of these issues, it gives you local resources, regional resources, and national resources, lines they can call, advice, who you can talk to about these issues. Also, just make sure that you educate them about online predators. Everybody's free to use Snapchat and meet new friends and that type of thing, just like we do as adults. We get friend requests constantly from people that we may not know, but they may not have that filter themselves to say, I shouldn't be friends with that person. And so they may be friends with somebody that looks polished and out of a magazine, but that person may not be who they say they are. And that puts them at risk for all kinds of things. Again, it puts your home at risk. It puts your child at risk. All different types of risk associated with online predators. And so just be sure that you're conscious of making sure that they know not everyone is their friend, and to make sure not to accept those requests unless they actually know the person. And next we'll go to Jackie.
Thank you, Jen. We're so happy all of you have joined us on this special Safe Internet Day. We hope we can give you some useful information. So let's talk a bit about two-factor authentication. I hope you've heard of it. It's also called 2FA. So what is it? It's also called multi-factor authentication. So 2FA or MFA. It sounds complicated, but to simplify, just replace the F factor for forms and the A authentication for identification. So it's simply two forms of identification or multiple forms of identification to make sure it's you and authenticate your login. These forms can take various types. They can be something you know, it can come from knowledge. So that could be a password, answer to a security question, a code set by text, email, or phone call. It can be a possession, something that you have. It can be a smart card, a USB key. In our case, we use Duo software, the authentication software. You're probably all aware of it, heard of it, and they will send you a push notification to your smartphone. So that is a perfect example of something that you have. So if you use your password and you use your smartphone, that's something that you know and something that you have, multi-factor authentication. The last form it might take is something physical, which is something you are. This is typically a biometric, such as a fingerprint, an iris print, voice, or a typing pattern. And I have to say, in my experience, it's typically inconvenient using multi-factor authentication. I've been so annoyed at having to stop what I'm doing, walk into the other room, dig the phone out of my purse just to log into my account. But then I think about the consequences. Verizon's 2021 data breach report addressed several issues. They found the majority of data breaches come from compromised login credentials. With criminals using newer technology, passwords alone may no longer be sufficient to keep our accounts safe and prevent someone from intruding into our network. They can expose or sell all of our sensitive information. That means everything UK knows about you. With that information, they can pretend they are you online, find additional information, maybe charge your credit cards, intercept your grant funding, clean out your bank accounts, or even file a tax return, claiming a large refund that you never received but are responsible for. Try explaining that to the IRS when they come to collect. With identity theft, people have found that they have a criminal record for years they've not been aware of for something they didn't do. And some have even been the victims of title fraud, where their homes were sold without their knowledge, somewhere they were still living in them. With all of this in mind, layering on a second authentication factor at login makes sense. According to Verizon's report, using MFA can make you 99.9% less likely to be hacked, 99.9% less likely to be hacked. Even a significant decrease in the opportunity for criminals to steal my identity makes me feel much more secure. And next time you're annoyed at trying to layer on a second authentication factor, just think it could be far worse. They could ask you for a video of your walking cadence or a DNA tissue sample. Let's hope that never gets to that point. So those are just a few things for you to think about. With that, I'm going to turn it back over to Jason, who will fill us in on some ways our network is protecting us.
Jason, before you talk about networks, we have some questions that have come in. So I want to make sure that we answer those. One of the questions is there a way to put parental controls on the type of content kids have access to on YouTube?
I don't know who's best to answer this, but I do know that there are parental controls available. It depends on your browser, I think. Jason, are you familiar with any of those more than me?
I can only speak for experience with my daughter. I use her on YouTube Kids. I may not be the best expert on the specific use case for YouTube.
I am also not familiar with that platform. That is something we can research and can post back in the chat.
Great. There are also some questions about any services that you would recommend for identity theft protection.
Oh, we probably couldn't recommend any specific one, but I would do your research. I would look online at all the identity theft protection services that are available. Some of the banks offer them. It would definitely be something for you to look into, but beware as well, because there are scams in it trying to protect you as well as legitimate companies. So just beware and do your research. And it's good thinking, though.
Great, thanks so much.
Next slide. Well, good afternoon. UK Cybersecurity is committed to protecting your students from email scammers and malicious software. One software tool used in UK is the Exchange Online Protection. EOP is a cloud-based filtering service that scans emails for known spam, malicious software signatures, and other threats. On top of that, we also use a context-aware security platform. And what that means is it learns the behaviors of the users and assesses each email using tens of thousands of contextual signals. And this is significant because it creates a unique risk-aware detection model specific to UK. We know that bad actors are always evolving. And if your student finds themselves suspicious of an email in their inbox, they can simply navigate in their inbox and self-report that message as spam or phishing. And after that report, the software will take care of removing the suspect email from their mailbox. Next slide, if there are no questions.
Sorry, folks, my ability to unmute went away there for a moment. So when you're looking at this slide, if you have your phone, feel free to go ahead and pull out and scan with your camera app, or if you have a QR code app, that QR code and you'll load up our CyberSafe Cats website. I'll talk more about that in a quick minute. One of the other things that we do to protect students, and also something that you can do to help educate them as well and help them stay protected, is follow us on social media. Whichever platform you prefer, a lot of the same information is posted on each of them. There are all of our shortcuts there, and I'll also show you a quick way to do that at the end of our website tour. But this gives you the ability to get the latest in tips. If there is a phishing email, which we'll get into phishing in a few moments, that is circulating, or any cybersecurity alerts or that type of thing that your students should be aware of, we're also posting on those social media channels. So that can help get you the latest news. Some of the activities that we also do to be proactive is we do monthly educational posts on those channels, as well as we have a cybersecurity month where we have lots of activities that span the month of October, including a conference that we call CyberCon, where folks can attend for free, get some free foods and giveaway items, but also participate in educational games and different activities. Last year, for example, we had a speaker from the FBI that came and talked to the students about risks and cybersecurity in general. So I'm going to exit out of this slide deck really quick. Actually, I'm going to click and pull it up here. And if you have it pulled up on your phone or device, feel free to follow along. But this is our CyberSafe Cats website. I'm just going to give you a quick overall tour of that. Policies or recommendations or standards. A lot of these apply to employees at the university. Some of them apply to students and how they can use our resources, though. So you can always click out and review those there as well. Reporting spam and phishing emails. If your student's getting them and they mention it to you, you can always point them back to this website. It's a real quick place to learn how to report those. They also have access to cybersecurity training. So this My UK Learning link is for staff. I'm going to show you now, if we scroll past some of the latest cybersecurity news, we can go down here. We can learn, they can learn about types of threats, our cybersecurity tools that we utilize to protect them, but then they can also watch some training and best practices. But we have a fun web series. Each episode is less than 5 minutes, 7 episodes max per season. That is a fun way that your students can get to learn about cybersecurity risks and issues. They do have to use their UK credentials to log in and watch the web series, but it is a fun comedic series that can teach them valuable lessons that keep them protected. I will go back up here for a second and talk about types of threats. We used to see job scams quite frequently. There would be a handful of these a month. And unfortunately, we've had a lot of students that have fallen prey to these. And these scammers typically ask for personal information up front that either allows them to steal the student's identity, and or sometimes they'll ask for some type of deposit, which you think doesn't seem intuitive at all. If somebody's hiring you, they'd ask you for money. But students have fallen for these in the past, and they've lost thousands of dollars. And I bring these up. Jason just told you what our great tools are doing to protect them in the UK environment if they're using their UK email. However, they can still fall victim to job scams on any type of social media platform with spam messaging, or even a spam employer that's there posting a fake job, as well as in their personal email accounts. So it's definitely something to be aware of and talk with them about, looking through some of these topics and making sure that they know what a real job looks like and what that real job interview process or hiring process looks like, so that they can be like, this does not seem legit, and they can follow up with you, and they can follow up with the folks at UK they need to make sure that it's not a fake job. So I did promise you there's an easy way for our social media. So if you scanned and you're on our website, if you go all the way to the bottom, and we've got other tips here as well, you can see all of our social media channels, and you can follow whichever one is your preferred. Like I said, most of the tips get cross-posted. Most of the alerts get cross-posted. So you don't need to follow them all if you don't want to, whatever is your preferred mechanism to follow us. And Nikki, it looks like you have a question there.
Yeah, we have a couple of questions. If someone reports an email a phishing email or suspected email, what happens to that report? Who is it reported to? And what's typically the process that email goes through at that point?
So it depends. There's a couple different ways that we endorse for people to report things. If they're in Exchange or they're in Outlook, there is a report button that you can hit and report that out. And that actually goes to Microsoft. Jason, correct me if I'm wrong. Actually goes to Microsoft, and that helps improve how they're reviewing everybody's emails. Jason talked about all that knowledge and all of kind of that artificial intelligence that's helping screen our emails. And it will actually improve that and let that, do its thing. There is also our older email. Is this email safe? That you can report it to. You can attach it to an email and send that to us. That is actually an automated inbox as well. It scans it and it will reply back to you if that email is safe or not. Jason, do you want to add anything to that?
No, you had it, Jen. You covered it.
Okay, good deal. Nikki, anything else from the group?
Great. Yeah, we have one more question that I missed earlier, so I apologize. We have a parent or family member who is asking about any tips or resources for intellectually delayed individuals who maybe need a little more education on cybersecurity.
That is a very good question. And that's actually something we can research and get back with them. And Nikki, I'll pass that information to you to get back with that individual. Is that okay? Jason?
That sounds great.
Well, yeah, definitely agree with getting some information and getting back. But also, what I do, I know for my family is in the context that the child receives, that when they're looking at email and on social media, kind of getting them comfortable with attaching that platform as a stranger. This worked for my family, and that message is a stranger, and just molding those social skills to that same context.
That's a really good idea. Just to treat them as a stranger danger, as a strange person. I like that idea. Okay, folks, I think I've messed up my screen share, but I'm gonna keep trying. Can everybody still see the PowerPoint? Okay, good deal. Next person, Jackie.
Thank you, Jen. Thank you, Jen. Another effort that UK is making to keep our students safe and offer support is our 24/7, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week help desk. Statistics have reported that on an average, only 50% of customer service teams are available during business hours, Monday to Friday, and only 28% are available 24/7. The UK Help Desk, we want to make sure that we offer excellent service to our students. We will be available to answer your call 24 hours a day, 365 days a year with first level support. Now, why is this important? Firstly, providing the best student experience is our top priority. We know our students are going to be active or studying all hours of the day or night. When there's a crunch time assignment, studying for an upcoming exam, a student needs to know that there's going to be somebody available and monitoring our help desk. It also means additional safety, so they don't feel a need to leave their residence or search somewhere else for help. How do they contact our help desk? Right there is 859-218-HELP. We have an online chat option, which is, and you can see the email there, but I don't think that's as well used. So it's better to either go on the chat or, and you can see the address right there, or you can set an online appointment. That's available to anyone at any time. You can go in person at a kiosk. We have 2. They usually would like an appointment for that, but they will take walk-ups as well. The first one is located at the Gatton Student Center on the 2nd level. It is by the information desk. The next one is at the library in the basement, and that is adjacent to the hub. If you go down to the bottom of the stairs, you can actually see it right there. Their hours are 8 to 8, Monday to Friday. And one more option you can do is you can actually fill out a customer services assistance request form. And this is sort of part of the self-help option available to you. There's lots of self-help available, like Jen went over on the Tech Help Center website. But you can open one of these customer service assistance request form at any time on behalf of you or on behalf of someone else. So one last thing, if you're a student, don't hesitate to reach out and ask us for help if needed. That's what we're here for, and we're always happy to talk to you all. So that's about it for the help desk. I'm going to turn it back over to Jason, who will help you recognize phishing and offer some other great suggestions to keep you safe.
Thank you, Jackie. So now let's discuss a few tips you and the student can use to avoid the scammers and malicious actors, right? Email scammers and message scammers will commonly send correspondence that has an urgent call to action or threats. So be suspicious of emails that you must click, call, or open attachment. And usually they're creating a false sense of urgency that is common to keep you off your wits. Also, look out for first-time or infrequent senders. While it is not unusual to get an email from someone for the first time, but be especially watchful for those coming in outside of your organization. Something else to look for is their bad grammar, is their spelling mistakes. Professional companies and organizations usually have an editorial staff to ensure customers get high quality. So looking out for those errors could be a potential sign of maybe a bad actor from another country. Also, be vigilant for mismatched email domains. And what I mean is, if the email comes from a reputable company like Microsoft or your bank, but you see the email is sent from a Gmail account, or even subtle misspellings in the domain. If it says Microsoft, but instead of you seeing a little O, you see a zero, those are malicious signs as well, or indicators as well. Suspicious links or unexpected attachments. If you suspect an email message is a scam, don't open the link or attachment that you see. Instead, please hover over the hyperlink, like in the diagram in the picture, but don't click it to see if the address matches what was typed in the message. Tip, like I said earlier, being familiar with electronic correspondence, it's easier than walking up to someone, and sometimes we get a false sense of comfort. So just remember, if a company or person has sent you an urgent email or needing something from you, take the time, inspect it, get online, call the company. If they had time to write you, they have time to take your call. Next slide.
We have a quick question that has come in. Belinda would like to know if there are any requirements for UK students to go through cybersecurity training, and if not, would that be possible?
There are not requirements at this time. We do have cybersecurity training. I showed you all the tour earlier, and the training that we have out for students right now is that comedic web series. And we feel that is very educational and takes it in a lighthearted, non-traditional classroom way that they can get out and get those trainings. We will be adding more. We just have a new cybersecurity vendor, so we're actually in the midst of changing the trainings out. And so within the next month, we hope to launch those. Right now, like I said, they are not mandatory. Those decisions are made above our level. We hope that they will be mandatory one day, but we can't make any promises on that. So we highly encourage for you to talk with your student. Like I said, if they do that comedic web series, it's 5-minute episodes. There's like 6 episodes, less than 30 minutes, and it teaches them a huge breadth of topics around cybersecurity in a fun way that they really don't know that they're learning. And so that that makes it fun and makes it easy for them. And they log in with their UK credentials and are able to access those. And again, we'll be adding more. You can look for after spring break. We hope to do wider announcements and formally launch that product and put those out there for students. And so they're even more easily accessible because they'll be getting news about them every day for several days after spring break.
And I just have to say, I'm just going to jump in because that's my slide coming up there. But Jen, I really enjoyed that series. It is so much fun and I would highly recommend it. And like you said, it doesn't take a long time, but it gives you lots of great useful information in a really fun dynamic in the way they've done it. I thoroughly enjoyed it, so I agree. So let's talk about now something that we're all familiar. Oh, is that it, Nikki, for questions? Okay, thanks. Let's talk about something that we're all familiar with, social media. There are lots of great things, we all know, lots of great things about social media and technology, such as greater convenience, greater connectivity. I'm sure you can sort of picture a mental list saying connecting with your family and friends worldwide, quick access to information or banking, online learning, job skills, content discovery, opportunities for remote employment, maybe job searching. We're all interested in doing that. I'm sure your students, when you're ready for it, you'll be online doing that. But with every benefit, you have to understand there is a dark side, and that also applies to using social media. For example, just a few examples, the picture or meme that you forwarded to your family and friends, it might have a virus embedded in it. Malware can often be found within pictures, hidden there. One of your new friends, like Jen said, could very well be an online predator searching for personal information on you, your friends, or family. Accessing your bank frequently increases the chance of someone hacking your financial information or stealing your identity, which we've talked about. Any online offers, free training or certifications can be a scam. Any links you click on can be phishing that will download malware like Jason talked about. And that's strictly to spy on you or steal your information. Always look also for somebody who is asking for fees. They might say, oh, it's free training, free certifications, and then you find out that they're going to ask you for fees. So beware. One of the rising threats, like Jen covered before, is job scams. Beware of companies that contact you instead of you're contacting them, especially ones that require confidential information before they make you an offer. So beware of that. Or require payment from you, like Jen said, to process your application. And don't forget that something that sounds too good to be true, like extremely high pay or a promise of high rewards, most likely isn't true. Do your research again on any company before you engage with them. We'll be discussing this a little bit later in greater detail on my next slide. So I do have a question for you. Have any of you used Snapchat? Their claim to fame is that your pictures disappear in 10 seconds. Is this true? Well, I don't know if you're aware, but your pictures do not travel from phone to phone. They pass through the Snapchat server. While they generally delete them when opened, it clearly states in the terms of conditions, which you should all read. I know it's inconvenient, but reading the terms and conditions are really important. But it says there in the terms and conditions that they can retain them solely at their discretion. And say the Snapchat server does delete them. Are they really gone? The answer is still no. Unfortunately, the photos are stored in the received images file deep within a mobile device. So anyone who's received those pictures, they can, with a small change in the file name, fully view those files that were sent to them. They're all recoverable. So another question, are you able to delete a post on a social media site once it's been posted? On some platforms, like Facebook, there is an option to delete a post that you made. However, we all know, we should all keep in mind that there's always a possibility that it's already been copied and sent to others. How fast could that happen? A quick screenshot and there it goes. How do you undo something that was said or shared amongst a crowd of witnesses? Once shared, always shared. Are you able to delete a post from someone else? Unfortunately, you have no control over someone else's post beyond deleting or hiding it in your own feed. So one last question, who owns your photos and posts? While some social media sites do not claim to own your information, there are quite a few that do. That no longer belongs to you, it belongs to them. Either way, by agreeing to their terms and conditions, you have given them the license or right to use any of the information you post. Of course, it'll be subject to your privacy and application settings, which you should always go in and review your privacy and application settings. And if they were shared before you set your privacy settings, they of course cannot be recalled. If you're wondering if UK IT can remove a post from a social media site for you, unfortunately they cannot, and no one is able to recall a post from everywhere it was forwarded to. So be careful out there, be careful what you share, and I'm done with that. On to you, Jen, for more invaluable tips if there are no questions.
Okay, so to elaborate a little bit on what Jackie said, moving a step beyond social media, there are other social sites that we use for day-to-day life, online dating, and just basically what I call online life, Uber, Lyft, Facebook Marketplace, where we buy and sell or trade goods, GoFundMe, where we help our friends out if they're in need in some emergency situation, or even organizations in emergency situation. So a lot of these tips go around online dating, but you can use them for other things such as Facebook Marketplace or GoFundMe. So when you're talking with someone that's new, don't share your last name. Don't share those personal details. If you can all avoid that until you feel more comfortable with them and you feel like they're a person that you know on a deeper level. Don't post photos with your name on them when you're looking at online dating safety and that type of thing. If it's got a name tag, your first, your last name, they can zoom in and get those details. They can also, oftentimes, if it's a name tag, see your employer as well. And so that gives them lots of data points to go out and research you online. Also keep in mind, if you're going to do online dating or if you're going to build other profiles on what I call these online life sites, maybe use other pictures that aren't in your Facebook profile or your Instagram profile, because folks can actually use that picture through Google. You can search images and they can find that exact same picture, and then bam, they have your profile with whatever information you've made public on that profile that they can see. So keep that in mind. Also, make sure that when you're sending pictures or exchanging pictures, I find this a lot on Marketplace, when you're posting those photos of things you want to sell, what are you showing people that is in your home? Is there a fancy TV, a big computer system, those types of things? So keep in mind that background of things you may not want them to see, and also the layout of your home. Also, there's an ability on your pictures that you need to go into your phone and turn off your location data. Now, I'm not going to break down each phone and each version of that phone. It's different for every phone type and version. So just type in your phone into a Google search engine and type in remove location data, and that'll pull up some instructions on how you can do it on your specific device that you have when you've got those pictures. But if you have that location data on, all someone has to do is look at that photo and look at the photo details, and they can see either the exact or close by proximity address of where that photo was taken. So don't indicate when you're making arrangements to meet somebody. Oh, you might just innocently say, I'll meet you at 6 p.m. I don't get off work till 5:30. Well, then they know you're not going to be at home. No one's going to be at home. I can come steal what I plan to sell from you or buy from you at 6 o'clock. So keep that in mind. Don't give financial help unless you verify the recipient. We see this a lot on GoFundMe sites, especially when there's a natural disaster that pops up, and it seems like there's dozens and dozens and dozens of folks trying to raise money. So be sure to kind of try to validate who you're actually giving that money to, because it could be a spam individual. If it's suspicious or inappropriate, report it. Jackie talked about it's really, really hard to get something removed from social media. If you do feel like it's inappropriate, going back to that first slide where we talked about sextortion, cyberbullying, those types of things, most apps offer the ability to report it and It's up to that app though, if they decide, and it's also not typically a quick endeavor to get something removed. So, but you do have that ability in most apps to report it. Use tips that I just taught you above to research the individual that you're going to meet. So try to find as much information about them as you can to make yourself feel comfortable. Also, some of the apps have this now. Enable any safety features they have. I know on Uber now, there's a function on there that you can activate where you can name a friend. And so they can track your entire Uber ride and they'll get notifications of when you're picked up, when you're dropped off, that you're on your way. And that way you have a little extra level of built-in safety. They know who you're in the car with and all of those different details. So these are just before that in-person meeting tips. There's a whole other set of things that I think goes really beyond cyber safety and online safety. That's during the physical meeting when you're meeting with folks. You can go to the rain.org website and search online dating. Yes, you're searching online dating. Yes, it's online dating tips, but a lot of the tips are helpful for just when you're going to encounter strangers in Uber, Lyft, or Facebook Marketplace, those types of things when you're making it a physical encounter. Also, for some safety, physical safety tips, you can go to our UK Police Department's website. The address is there at the bottom, and you can look at safety. And it also talks about some of the built-in safety features that our campus has to help keep the students protected as well. Next, I'm going to go to Jackie if there are no questions.
Thank you, Jen. Thank you again, Jen. So for me, here's the big one of Safer Internet Day for today, safe online habits. So before we get into some of the nitty gritty, I just want to remind you of a few of the golden rules that you most likely know, but of course I'm going to remind you. Firstly, never share your password for any reason. No one should ask you. You should never consider it, not even to turn in a group assignment. Never email it to anyone without it being encrypted or password protected. You can actually make a document and password protect that and make it as an attachment if you need to send something of sensitive nature. Unencrypted email, I don't know if you're aware, it's just like sending a postcard through the mail. It is just plain text, and anyone that intercepts it anywhere along the way is open for anyone to view. And just keep in mind too, the help desk will never ask you for your password, and they don't need it. So don't send in an email to them either. So another golden rule is never use your link blue credentials for anything else. Reusing passwords simply increases the chance for exposure, or that someone can grab it offline. Should your link blue get exposed, it's not just your credentials. You risk exposing everybody's information who attends or works for the university. Create separate passwords for separate accounts and protect them with multi-factor authentication when possible. So the Identity Theft Resource Center's annual data breach report released just on January 25th, showing 1,802 data compromises last year that affected 422 million Americans. Excuse me, phishing was the #1 attack vector, and identity theft cases made up the biggest single category of crimes reported to the Federal Trade Commission in 2021. So this is all important information, and it's relevant now, today. So let's go over some of the more important do's and don'ts of using the internet so we can keep your confidential information confidential. Do regularly update your computer. It's important you use the latest versions of your operating systems and apps, especially if the apps contain your payment, health, or other sensitive information. Vulnerabilities are called that because unpatched systems and apps can leave your information vulnerable to intrusion and theft. Security patches are developed, and this is designed to manage those vulnerabilities, so update your software regularly. Do use antivirus. Reliable antivirus software will provide you with the extra level of security, even when updating and following all of the rules just aren't enough. And by the way, the help desk can help you and give you some advice regarding antivirus if you're not exactly sure what to use or how to do it. So one of the ways your personal information can be compromised is through a data breach. So regularly check your accounts for unfamiliar activity or any breaches that might have occurred that you're not aware of. Always opt for using VPN when necessary. It encrypts your communications within your home network and it protects you. The other thing that VPN does is changes your IP address. So it gives you anonymity as well. So it does a lot of great things. And if you don't have VPN, I would consider getting that at home. The next one is always a good idea, just as a life lesson. Before engaging in anything, do your research. The few minutes to check a website can possibly save your identity or financial security. As of January of last year, Google registered more than 2 million phishing websites. But how do you tell a reliable one from a fishy one? With a PH. Let's spend a minute or two. There's so many common sense ways to check on the legitimacy of a website. As Jen mentioned, carefully look at the address bar and URL. Jason mentioned that too. Be sure that the site is secured by looking to see if there's an HTTPS and not just an HTTP in the URL, or if it has a lock symbol. This doesn't guarantee against a spam site, but it shows that the site owner is being secured and is using secured encryption to transfer their data. Check the domain name. Scammers will create similar names. Jason went into this too, to trick the user. Misspelling, adding numbers or dashes, making subtle changes that you may not even notice. Watch for bit.ly addresses. I don't know if you're aware of bit.ly, but what they can do is by using a bit.ly address, it abbreviates the URL. So the full address is hidden. You can't even tell what the full address is. Please pay close attention. The address bar really can expose a lot of bad websites. Also keep in mind, data privacy laws and regulations require most of these websites to provide how the data is collected, used, protected, and shared. Look for this information, attempt to read it before providing information, or especially before making any online purchases. Verifying the age of a site can give you an idea if it's an established business. It's easy to look up the age of a website domain name. Go to, and you can see it on the screen there, whois.domaintools.com. This is a lookup tracker to get information such as who the site's registered to, where they are, how long it's been in business, etc. Validate the site with Google's Safe Browser Transparency Report. I just became aware of this myself. You paste a URL into the field and it gives you a report on whether that website is trustworthy. So I'm going to, just to make it quick, I'm going to give you some quick one-line suggestions along the same vein. Check the reputation through the Better Business Bureau. Check their contact page for multiple modes of contact: phone, email, live chat, emailing address, or mailing address. Click on a social media icon, like Jen was talking about, just to see if it actually links. Check the reviews. Do any of their employees show up on LinkedIn? Look for poor grammar and spelling, like Jason said. Finally, as always, walk away if an offer is too good to be true. So let's quickly look at some of the don'ts for internet usage. Top one, just don't share your confidential information. Information such as your social security number shouldn't be online. Cyber criminals cannot access or steal your information if it's nowhere to be found on the internet. However, if you still must share it, once again, send us an encrypted email or password protected attachment. Don't click on suspicious online links and pop-ups. I know it's tempting, but some shady links can be easy to recognize. They aggressively urge you to click on them, like arrows and flashing. You should always avoid suspicious links from untrusted sources. Clickbait, online quizzes, tabloid headers, free or, again, too good to be true offers, or unsolicited ads. Beware of free software downloads. If you decide to go for a free solution, make sure it has a reliable reputation. Research the name of the service or software. You'll probably find some feedback on if it's legitimate. And using free public Wi-Fi could end up being the most expensive thing we do. Even if it's password protected, it's not always safe. You need to go online. If you need to go online urgently, avoid accessing your bank accounts or completing purchases. If you do need to do this, use VPN, virtual private network. Makes your internet connection private by changing your IP address again and giving you anonymity, encrypting the sensitive data that you send. That's important. It does encrypt it. If it's not urgent, it's better to just postpone any important transactions till you get home. One last thing, and like Jen was talking about, don't ignore the children in your home. Educate them. Explain to your child what a digital footprint is. Create family rules for what you can share and what you can't share. Help your child look for phishing and generally not click on links. Teach your child how to create strong passwords. And encourage always positive, polite communications online. So thank you for bearing with me with that long list. So I'm going to give it back to Jen on ways to contact us.
So a few things before we close out today. If you or your child has any follow-up questions, needs help, specifically, sometimes UK students click on links and then they don't know what to do. Jackie talked about this earlier. Give us a call at 218-HELP. And they can give you some steps for what to do. You can also email us and get a hold of Jackie, Jason, or myself at cybersecurity@uky.edu. That emails our entire team. And so everybody will see that and you will get help. You can also visit our website. I had you scan the QR code earlier. That jumps directly to our CyberSafeCats website. This is our website in general, and you can get to CyberCats from there as well. And just a quick FYI, if you want to follow up and view this presentation later, if you want to share it with your student, it'll be posted from the live stream on the Parents Association Facebook page, but you'll also later on be able to view it on our ITS YouTube channel as well. And there's the address. I'm going to hand it back over to Nikki for any questions and to follow up and make sure everybody got the details if they want a water bottle.
Great, thank you so much. We had some really great questions today, and for those who asked questions in the chat, we put some information in there about how to access those water bottles by emailing the cybersecurity team, and they will be happy to coordinate how to get those water bottles to your students. So be sure to do that. Again, if you have additional questions, you can email the help desk, or you can put your questions in the comments on the Facebook link, and we'll be happy to continue answering those as they come up. I know there were a couple of questions from people looking for resources, so we will get together and try to follow up with you about those as well. We appreciate everyone being here today. This is the first in our Spring Cat Chat Live series, and so we'll have a couple of more coming up here pretty soon. So be sure to mark your calendars when we start marketing those different dates. But for now, thank you so much for everything. Hope everyone has a wonderful day, and go Cats.